ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। After all this discussion, where do we place karma, action, work? Do we look down at work? Oh no. Do we consider work as something? Oh no. Work should neither be underestimated and it should nor be overestimated. By and large, to the overwhelming majority of all of us, work is worship. Work is, as some wise people have said, love made visible. If you work for your family, for your people, for the society, if you work with heart and soul for the organization where you hold a position, no scripture can look down at it. Then there seems to be a little criticism here of work or action. The context may be rituals, but the message is all actions. Vedic rituals or some rituals which don't draw from Vedas but from Puranas or from some other works in the religious domain. Then there are Laukika karma, and that is, as we said, in organizations, we work. We have our careers. Somebody is a farmer, somebody else is a businessman, somebody else is a teacher. So whatever work they do, all of that may be called Laukika karma, secular activities. And prayer, worship, rituals of, again, a wide range are called Vaidika karma, religious actions or spiritual activities. When there is activity, it is called karma. And a karma necessarily brings to us karma phala, that is the result. So, summing up the discussion once more before proceeding, the Upanishad is asking us neither to run away from work nor to think that work or action is everything there is to life. So in that second part, to help us not to overestimate karma, there is some karma ninda. Ninda means criticism. So please do not misunderstand that the Upanishads are against action. They are against our belief that there is nothing beyond action. Upanishads are not against wealth, not against women or men. Upanishads are not against pleasures. But if someone thinks that pleasure alone is all there is to life, Upanishads do criticize it. So I'm sure the difference is clear now. It is all about that getting stuck, getting overly attached, and imagining there is nothing beyond rituals and some upasanas and so on. And of course, the context is called jnana, gyan, the wisdom of Brahman, wisdom of Atman, or the wisdom of the oneness of Brahman and Atman. In several ways it is expressed, but it is certain liberating wisdom. No karma can liberate us, no upasana can liberate us, but right understanding of what our true nature is can liberate us. So, in comparison with the liberating wisdom, karma and upasana are, of course, criticized. So, it was said in the last mantra that we saw, namely the sixth mantra, ehi iti ahvayantaha ahutayaha suryasya rashmibihi yajamanam vahanti. The ascent to heaven was described in quite a poetic manner. And we saw that while the last word was Brahmaloka, the Yeshava Punyaha Brahmalokaha, by force of context, the meaning is Swarga, heaven. Swarga is heaven. If you just say Swaha, that is also heaven. They are synonyms. Bhuhu Bhuvaha Swaha. Swaha is itself Swarga, called also Naka. So we saw the commentary also on that sixth mantra, which started Ehi Ehi Iti, how the powers, mainly gods, devatas, welcome this soul who has done a lot of karma and earned punya. They say, please come, please come. Ehi means come. Now introducing the seventh mantra, the Bhashya lines go like this. Etaccha jnana rahitam karma. Whatever we discussed so far is such karma which is devoid of upasana. The Sanskrit word jnana can stand for the liberating various sciences, various subjects of the world, and in some contexts the word jnana can mean upasana. What is the difference between upasana and karma? Karma is sharira pradhana. You need to do something with your body, with your hands, using some samagri, some material, balls of rice or ghee, and you need to set up again a physical structure, put some bricks in a certain fashion, make this homa kunda or yajna kunda, and light up the fire. Or in Laukika karma also, all of us are involved in various secular activities. And you name it, every activity requires a lot of materials. And then you get going. In today's language, you do anything with some hardware and then there is some software. All of that is required. Then what is upasana? Upasana, whether in the religious context or in the secular context, is manasa vyapara. Not everybody's cup of tea, but if some of us can do it, it has greater effectiveness, greater rewards. It blesses us with subtler achievements, joys. In fact, even in the secular context, isn't it true that rather than enjoying physical objects, good food, good clothes to wear, and so on, isn't it true that when you and I begin to appreciate refined stuff like fine literature or some music, some art forms, or why talk only about things created by man? If you and I are able to lose ourselves in the sight of a rainbow, a beautiful sunrise. Now, in the Western countries, it is fall. Already I received a few pictures from some friends in New Jersey. the autumn colors of the leaves of those trees, and they are so pretty. And no matter whether we are rich or poor, no matter our health is good or bad, if we are able to do this manasa vyapara, manasa means mind. In our mind, if we are awestruck, we are really uplifted by the beauty of nature. It is a higher form of enjoyment, higher pleasure, rather than just physical stuff. Everything has its place. We don't look down at the physical stuff because the Advaita Jnana, that liberating wisdom, cannot join hands with karma. When you say Jnana Rahitam, karma without Jnana, it is in comparison with Jnana Sahitam. So if some Jnana can go hand in hand with karma, and in certain contexts it is not brought into the picture, that Jnana which can join hands with karma cannot be the Advaita Jnana. The Advaita Jnana, the Paramartha Jnana, is free of any association. It is not a joint operator. When there is that insight, by its sole power, by its sole effect, it sets us free. That's a big topic in the Advaita Vedanta discussions, how Jnana, that Paramartha Jnana, cannot go hand in hand with karma. If it were to go hand in hand, that would be called Jnana Karma Samuchaya. And Adi Shankara, in his commentaries, on many occasions, strongly criticizes whoever believes that Jnana and karma can go hand in hand. Whereas the present reference to Jnana is Upasana. Upasana and karma can definitely go hand in hand. That is, somebody could be doing every day some karma, then certain other time some upasana. So he is both an upasaka and a karmi, possible. But somebody cannot be doing or cannot be in that Advaita Darshana and yet be in karma. If he is doing karma, that is a mere appearance. In his heart, that sense of being a doer, sense of being a karmi, sense of being a karta is totally removed. It no more exists. Only if you are a doer, you can do something. So in the eyes of others, he may be seen doing some karma. But if he has gained the Advaita Jnana, he is ever in the non-dual darshana, samyak darshana. So Jnana Rahitam karma etavat phalam avidya kama karyam. So whether karma is by itself or with upasana, which is a finer process as we pointed out, they are alpa phalam, etavat phalam, having such benefits as going to heaven. And a strong expression is used here, avidya kama karma karyam. There is, first of all, basic spiritual ignorance. When there is ignorance of our completeness, we erroneously mistake ourselves to be incomplete. And when there is the sense of incompleteness, we want this or that object, this or that person, this or that position. That is called kama, wanting something. The Vedanta is very clear. If someone is without ignorance, then he or she doesn't want anything at all. Internally, from his own point of view, from her own point of view, there is just celebration, spontaneous living. Once more, outwardly you may find an enlightened person apparently miserable, getting angry also, and so on. But that's why, in order to know whether a sadhu is truly enlightened, you can't judge by just seeing him here or there. You need to spend time then you will find that this person, though because of some prarabdha, sometimes even gets angry, really he is established in Advaita Darshana. So that has to be very carefully seen. Since this Jnana Sahita Karma or Jnana Rahita Karma, all this is Avidya Kama Karma Karyam, Ataha Asaram, they don't have pith, don't have essence, they don't have there is a comment here, please adjust the camera, your face and Shiva picture behind you are not fully seen. Is that so? I think I am fully seen. Hope one of you clarifies. If I am not seen, then I will. Or this was an old comment maybe. Okay. Seen fully, someone has confirmed. Maybe in the beginning, or maybe I had not taken my seat at that time. So, okay. So seen fully. Okay. Thank you. All right. Asaram, dukkha moolam. Therefore, with due respect to so many achievements possible through action, in the context of liberation, in the context of finding lasting happiness, all this attachment to action and more action and so on is dukkha moolam. It's cause of sorrow. Having said this, the seventh mantra is taken up. Let me read the seventh mantra now. Pravahete adrida yajna rupaha ashtadashoktamavaram yeshu karma yetachreyo yebhi. This is explicit criticism of karma, and one last time, it is criticism of anybody's belief in karma being everything. That is what is criticized. Why? These are plavaha. The word plava comes from the verbal root plu. Plu means to float. Sometimes plu can mean fly also, but here it is to float, to swim. And plava is that which floats. So somewhere else, word plava can mean a raft, a canoe, a small boat, and so on. Here, the word plava basically means something not having much weight, something very light. And because it is light, not having strength and not having enough weight, it easily can break. So it is, in implication, destructible. That is the meaning of the first word. Plavaha means they are subject to destruction. Through karma, we may get something, but after a little while, that either gets destroyed or taken away by somebody else, or we ourselves do not value it anymore. Once in a get together of some scholars, I made a comment, and you may know this thought. Many people believe that because King Ashoka took to Buddhism and he took to non-violence and so on, because of that, in a generation or two, whole Maurya Empire fell. It got weakened and it was broken to pieces and conquered by others and so on. But another scholar gave a interesting view. He said, look around in the world, any empire anyhow doesn't stay for more than 4 or 5 generations. It's very rare that in this world, any empire, no matter what their outlook is, what their philosophy is, it doesn't stay long. Because that philosophy also doesn't stay long. Someone builds the empire, then maybe his son and his grandson also pretty much, you know, keep that momentum. But three generations down, as you know, in the case of the Mughal Empire, that the last emperor, he hardly showed interest in administration. Bahadur Shah Zafar. About him, there is a popular uh, piece of story that when the British is the next move now, so he was more involved. And that happens in human psychology. So there are some technical words in this mantra. These yajna rupaha, ashtadasha yajna rupaha. Dasha is 10, ashta is 8, ashtadasha is 18, 10 plus 8. So we have Ekadashi, 11th, Dvadashi, 12th. Now Ashtadasha is 18. So 18 Yajna Rupa, the commentary makes it clear that these 18 are no other than there are 16 priests in certain standard, Vedic rituals, 16 priests having different responsibilities, and the Yajamana, the main person performing the Yajna, guided by the priests, and his wife, together become 18. You and I today know, even in context of sports, in India, cricket is so popular, and almost everyone knows a cricket team has 11 players in each team. Like that, in certain standard Vedic karma, there are simpler, smaller ones. Agnihotra can be done just by one person also, and I believe. And then there is more complex ones too. So this represents a standard Vedic karma. And they are called plava, subject to destruction. No good. So we should not be attached to them. That is the whole point. Avaram yeshu karma. So that whole karma, because of everything being destructible, everything being so weak and light, not having strength, avaram is lower. Avara and apara are avaram karma. But there are a lot of people, no matter how much they are told, they have such endless attachment to karma. Do this and get that. Do this and get that. They don't see that that show cannot go for long. If they don't listen, then the mantra says, Ye abhinandanti, those who rejoice in karma itself, they are mudaha, they are deluded, they are foolish, and all that happens is, yes, because of their karma, they go to heaven, but when the karma phala is over, they come back to this earth, or sometimes to something lower than that also. Jara mrityu. Jara is old age, mrityu is death. Who can save himself from old age and death? The commentary clarifies every little point. Plavaha means vinashinaha. Elsewhere, plava may be a boat. Plavangama is a monkey. He goes flying, he goes jumping. But here, plava is light and destructible. He yasmat. This little word he has the meaning of because. These Ashtadasha, 18 components of Vedic karma are light and they are subject to destruction because yete adridaha astiraha, by their inner structure, by their inner essence, they don't have much stuff in them. Yajna Rupaha, Yajnasya Rupani, Yajna Rupaha, Yajna Nirvartakaha. In this context, it is not the samagri, material, but it is 18 Nirvartakaha. Nirvartaka means performers. Don't mix it with Nivartakaha. You see, Nivartaka is returning, Nivritti, and so on, retirement. But Nir, if you are a student of Sanskrit, you need to have an eye for these prepositions. Nivartaka is different from Nirvartaka. So Ni is one preposition, Nir is another preposition. So depending on the preposition or prefix, meanings change. So Nirvartaka, performers of Yajna, and they are Shodasha Ratvijaha, 16 priests, Patni Yajamanascha, iti Ashtadasha. Etadashrayam karma, when a Vedika karma is done with all these 16 priests and Yajamana and his wife, Katitam Uktam Shastrena Ashtadashasu Avaram, such karma compared with the highest wisdom which can set us free is Avaram, and that is Kevalam Jnana Varjitam. Jnana Varjitam. Once more it is Upasana Varjitam. Without some refinements. If you have a lot of wealth, a big house, and a wonderful car, and all these physical things, it's good. But if you, along with them, you have a fine taste for good literature, you appreciate music, you are very aware of social problems, you have broad-mindedness, you are free from prejudice, and so on. These things are not physical, mental outlooks. Then your contribution to the society also will be much more, and the satisfaction that you experience within also is much more. So I am comparing Upasana with some refined outlooks in many contexts, everywhere. Even in Vedanta study, one can go about the study in a very coarse manner, just direct meanings, some simple statements, sometimes some slogans and some popular quotations, and be done with it. But both students and teachers in the Vedanta context can, without being too bookish or without simply going round and round in some grammar or some language issues, they can come upon very deep and refined understanding of what this Vedanta is all about. It is so everywhere, in music or in spirituality, in bhakti. Bhakti could be some gross kind of bhakti, or devotion could be of a certain subtle, sukshma kind. So karma without upasana is relatively gross. With upasana, jnana sahitam, it becomes subtle and so much better. Ataha tesham avarakarmashrayānam ashtadashanam adridataya plavatvat. Shankaracharya explains what is plava now. Plavate saha falena tat sadhyam karma. Therefore it is plava. Plavate. It floats away. It just being very light. If you were to put a very light paper boat, on water, a little breeze and the paper boat just goes away. If you were to put something heavy, a stone you put, it sinks and it stays there. Something like that. Something light just flows away. As you know, even in gravity, sorry for this little, bringing little physics, but most of you know, If there were to be no air friction, a feather dropped, let us say, from 100 feet or 100 meters height, and a heavy stone, both of them will come down and touch ground at the same time, because that gravitational attraction is the same. But generally, if you drop a feather of a bird, it comes very slowly dancing. That is because of air friction. They have conducted actual experiments also, though several hundreds of years ago, Newton established it. It was an amazing discovery. Whether it is a little feather or a heavy stone, if both of them are dropped from some height, they start coming down and they get accelerated by the same amount. Anyway, when there is air friction, you know how the feather works. So here it is something like that. Karma being very light, many factors of life in no time make the rewards and results of karma rather insignificant. Therefore, those who get attached to karma are not mature. There is a word here, tat sadhyam karma. Sahafalena karma, tat sadhyam karma. What is tat sadhyam? Here, tat sadhyam, I won't go long on it, is taihi sadhyam. Taihi means by these 18 performers. What is sadhyam? What is achieved? What is accomplished? What is performed by the 18? It's an adjective to karma. Taihi sadhyam. Taihi ashtadashabhihi karma nirvartakaihi sadhyam. Just to be clear about every word. How come we say karma it just gets destroyed? Acharya Shankara gives a nice simple explanation. Kunda vinashadiva kshira dadhyadinam tatsthanam nashaha. You have a pot and you have kept some milk in it, or that is kshira, or curd, yogurt, dadi. If the pot breaks, then the milk is also gone. The curd is gone. Kunda vinashat kshira dadhyadinam vinashaha iva. Tatsthanam kundasthanam kunde tishtati iti kundastha. Tatstha, milk and curd that are in it. Tatstha means in it, staying in it. All this is fine, easy to say, but we know our attachments. If we are attached to things, unless life gives so many blows, unless we do a lot of satsanga, that is why sadhana, anushtana is advised. Otherwise, this maya of the world, no matter how much Vedanta we know, maya is also very strong. We remain attached. So we have to take ourselves away. Now this Navaratri is going on. So many people are doing various anushtana. Anushtana means spiritual practices. Though there may be an interesting video, interesting TV show, or you come to know there is something very fascinating, YouTube, some entertainment. Your vasanas make you long for it. But you say no. These 9 nights, 9 days, Navaratri, Dashara, I will not watch any of those. I love them, but not during these 8-9 days. In this way, you train yourself and you do so with more understanding, the better. I believe the picture is blurred today. Yeah, maybe this. Yeah, this internet is a bit weak at my end probably. But some of you have written, we can see you very well. It may be a combination of internet quality at my end and internet quality at your end. So both contribute. Then those of you who have weak internet at your end also, it will be a combined effect, you see. So some of you are saying you are fully seen, we can see you very well, and so on. All right. I hope the voice is pretty good. Okay. The person who first remarked also says, yes, yes, now okay. All right. We are lucky. All right. How simple Sri Shankaracharya makes it. If the pot itself is very weak and it breaks, sometimes all of us, make a mistake. We have some precious, some nice, maybe kheer, some payasam, something, and very happily we are taking it to serve it to some guests. But if the vessel, if the pot is weak, it falls down, it breaks, and what is in it also gone in various ways. So, kunda vinashat tatsthanam vinasha. Yata evam etat karma shreya karanam. The word in the mantra is shreya. Etat shreyaha ye abhinandanti. Thinking that this karma is my pride. This has made my life so meaningful. I have come a long way and I am now so proficient. I am now so good in this work. I'll keep on doing this work and I don't need anything else. In this way, you and I believe at some time in our life, when the going is good, we get so attached and we think that I don't need anything. But no matter what profession it is, what area of work it is, what performance it is, yes, you have your sunny days, you have your good times, but keep watching after some time. They don't mean much to you, and many things happen. That is the meaning. How if the vessel itself breaks, what is in the vessel also goes away. Those who abhinandanti, those who rejoice, those who feel on top of the world, because right now, the going is good. Abhihrashyanti, synonym. Avivekinaha, mudaha. So what is being said is, of course, not the mantra or Shankaracharya is not asking us not to be happy when we earn well or when we get famous or when good returns are coming for our investment, etc. Nobody is objecting to our being happy, but it is said, why don't you see things in the long run, long range? It's nice that you are successful and you are celebrating. Congratulations. But go one step higher. Take your joy, take your sorrow lightly. That is, bear with them without being egoistic. It comes to that. In the famous prayer in Gitanjali of Rabindranath Tagore, you have a line, give me the strength lightly to bear my joys and sorrows. Because joy can make us egoistic and sorrow sometimes can make our, can break our backbone. We get so bitter. We get so negative. We don't feel like talking to anybody. We feel so angry with even those who have done nothing to us. Somewhere we have failed, and then we look at everybody as a traitor, everybody as wicked. This whole world is unkind and so on. So that is called taking joy and sorrow too much into the heart. Tagore says in the prayer that begins with the line, this is my prayer to thee, my Lord. Strike, strike at the root of penury in my heart. Give me the strength lightly to bear this bear lightly. lightly to bear my joys and sorrows, and so on. Just 8 lines, but very powerful. So we have those who cannot bear their joys and sorrows lightly are Mudaha. If we have a philosophical vision along with dynamism in whatever we are doing, a mere philosophical vision is dangerous. We are active, we are dynamic, we are giving our best. But inside we have a beautiful philosophical vision. Then, when things go wrong, we will not be shattered. That is the whole idea. Ataha te jarancha mrityuncha. Jara mrityum yanti. Yanti is the word in the mantra, Gachanti is the meaning. And Acharya Shankara adds, Kanchit kalam swarge stitva. Because of all the work they have done, they go to heaven. But after some time. Kanchit kalam means after some time. Kaschit kalaha, second case of it is Kanchit kalam stitva. Jara mrityum. Those who have an eye for grammar may wonder when there are two, Jara and Mrityu. It should have been Jara Mrityu because Guruhu Guru, Guravaha, dual. So for their benefit, I make a quick comment. This is a good example of what is called Samahara Dvandva. Two words come together and the compound is kept in singular only, though there are two components there. Jaracha, Mrityuscha. The other kind of samasa makes it Jara Mrityu, Dirgha. But here Jara Mrityu. And second case, Jara Mrityum. Unless it is some kind of Arsha Prayoga. Punareva api yanti. Let's not get lost in grammar. But you see, Jara Mrityum is singular, though there are two. Ramascha Krishnascha Ramakrishnau. That is called Itara Itara Dvandva. So, the criticism of not exactly karma, of our attachment to karma, that is it, continues in yet another two mantras. In fact, it extends to Vanaprasthis also. Those who have pretty much walked away from the competitive earn and spend and save and all that. They have withdrawn from the competitive life. They are in the forest. They are doing certain spiritual sadhanas. But they too, though they have changed their lifestyle, if they too, in their heart of hearts, have an attachment to do this and get it, that mindset. Because Atmajnana is not about doing something and getting something. It is about seeing what has always been. Atmajnana, where moksha is the phala, moksha is not the result of any karma. But those of us who have tremendous attachment to karma, we bring karma asakti into the field of moksha also. That well-known quotation of Abraham Maslow. What did he say? A man good at hammer thinks of every problem as a nail. A man good at hammer thinks of every problem as a nail. So the situation is like that. Those of us who have done this and then got it, who have done that and then got it, we get so attached to doing or saying or singing or dancing or some kind of activity. And even in the domain of spirituality, our mindset makes us, okay, what is it that I can do? What is it that I should do now in order that I may get liberated? Vedanta says, slow down. You will have to let go of this way of thinking. Just see who you are. Self-awareness, self-observation. That is where things like watching the flow of thought, watching your fear, for example. To sum up in this very example, if you have fear, the usual approach is, my God, again I'm feeling so afraid. What shall I do? What will take away my fear? Whom shall I approach? So some means, some way to get out of fear. But the higher approach, if you are capable of it, I do admit that not all can do this, but if we are already purified, our mind is purified, then though this fear in this example is a very uncomfortable emotion, though it is quite uncomfortable, rather than asking, what shall I do now? The person watches that fear. The person stays with that fear. The famous example is the young 17-year-old boy, Venkatraman, who later became Ramana Maharshi. On the upstairs room of his uncle in Madurai, when we don't know how, one fine day he was seized with fear of death. Looks like I'm going to die. He was uncomfortable. Don't think that he was very peaceful and he said, oh, it looks like I'm having a fear of death now. Not like that. Like anybody else, he too was quite nervous. But that purva sanskara, some past impression, some force of past sadhana, it is all, your sadhanas sometimes of previous life. And what time they rise, you do not know. Therefore, your japa, your tapa are never a waste. They set in motion certain sanskaras. And those sanskaras are like forces that are dormant. So in the case of young boy Venkatraman, even as he felt like crying out and maybe calling his aunt, who perhaps was downstairs, he said, no, let me see what it is to die. So he lies down on the ground and in a way facilitates his own dying. That is the famous death experience of Ramana Maharshi, and that was a major turning point in his life. Just after a few days or a couple of months after that, he leaves home, never to return. So this karma and this upasana are part of a mindset, and through number one, good anushtanas, love of God, etc., the mind gets purified. And Vedanta Chintana, you just take it theoretically, take it as an interesting concept. This watching, what will happen by watching, you will say. But as you get a hang of it, as you get a true feeling about it, you will realize all problems are not solved by doing only. There are some problems which disappear if I just stay quiet and look at them. I just stay aware of the problem. The power of awareness, not of thought, not of another emotion, not thinking, not feeling, but watching. The power of watching is far higher than the power of thought. This has to be understood by deliberation on it. We have to reflect on these teachings, this watchfulness, sakshi bhava, and so on. So we'll take up the 8th mantra in the next class.